Under items from the chairman, our chairman is absent today, and I'm taking his place. But I would like to mention one thing. Today is the 25th anniversary of this authority. 25 years ago in March, this organization came about. So, as Pat and I were talking a while ago, there have been a lot of headway, and in that time, particularly the latter half of that 25. The early part was difficult, but nonetheless, just wanted to acknowledge that. Next item is our last-minute meetings. Are there any comments or corrections on that?
Move approval.
Been moved and seconded. Would you record your vote? That item is approved. Moving to item 4, there are 4 consent docket items. Does anybody want any of those highlighted? Kathy?
I would. On the river updates, do we have Riverfest scheduled for 2010? I did not see it on this calendar. No. Okay. Just wanted to make sure I didn't miss something.
It's my understanding that Riverfest is not scheduled for this year.
Okay.
There had been some discussion about that, but I think the drag boat races and some other things have sort of taken precedent over that in terms of logistics and management on behalf of OKC events.
Okay. I saw it for June of 2011, and I thought maybe I missed something. Thank you.
I actually had the same question. Is Riverfest what the Blue Party is in conjunction with typically, or are they 2 different things?
Those are 2 different things. The Blue Party is tied in with the head of the Oklahoma Regatta, which will be coming up this fall.
Okay.
And that is on tap, and there will be some extraordinary events and announcements because of the opening of the Devon Boathouse and some other things taking place in the Boathouse District. But it is not related to Riverfest.
Great. Thank you.
We do have an update on the river cruises by Jeannie Smith.
Good afternoon. 2000 season opens in just 1 week. Staff has been analyzing the collected data, meeting with stakeholders and partners, and finalizing service schedules and budgets. The most recent piece of data that's been collected for review is the online survey, which was conducted by COTPA's marketing group. And do you all have the presentation on your screen? Okay. The survey of Oklahoma River Cruises riders consisted of 11 questions designed to help staff evaluate the service and the marketing of the service. Overwhelmingly, the response to how riders heard about the service was by word of mouth. We are encouraged by that result to some extent. If you see people coming off the boat, everyone always has a wonderful time and passes it along. Our marketing efforts will turn to a little more outreaching venues for this year. The type of cruise that customers have been on is not a surprise given the increased ridership for sunset cruises. And staff has developed some improvements to the other cruise options in order to increase their popularity. The results of this question will help staff focus on structuring the experience to rider expectations. For example, riders with out-of-town guests, we want to be sure that there's a crew on hand to explain all the reasons why Oklahoma City is a great place to come visit or to live in. Results of this question, while very encouraging, enable staff to prioritize service improvements. Ranking highest are safety and crew aboard the river cruiser, which staff believes is the direct result of the U.S. Coast Guard standards applied to service and the commitment to Oklahoma River Cruiser and Hornblower Cruise to engaging riders with facts, features, and history of the Oklahoma River. This was a wonderful question. 98% of our riders said yes, they would ride again. Other questions in the survey ask about what radio, TV, and newspapers they frequently use, how they would like to hear about Oklahoma River cruises, and what additional services, features, or entertainment they would like to see added to the service. Staff is exploring these suggestions and has already addressed most of them. The 2010 preseason kicked off with 2 special sunset cruises. This is something new we did this year. So we started up early. We ran a St. Valentine's Day cruise, which sold out 2 boats, and then we ran a St. Patrick's Day cruise, which sold 37 seats. This St. Patrick's Day cruise gave the Hornblower staff their first opportunity for boarding passengers at the new exchange location, and it went quite well. 2010's scheduled service begins April 1st with 3 landings and 3 types of service. The figure 8 pattern that the cruisers will transit will give riders the opportunity to visit the Hotel Corridor, Stockyard City, or Bricktown, and they have multiple landings this year to start their trip from. 2010 service schedule reflects a decrease from prior season as staff has identified, once again, days and times that are most popular and have the highest ridership. This new schedule is intended to make the service more efficient. Sunset cruises, which gained popularity in 2009, have been increased, as have the History Come Alive cruises, which were also very popular. Instead of every other Saturday, they will be every Saturday. Live entertainment cruises have been changed from an added value service. Last year it was just a part of a regular scheduled service run with an additional charge. This year it will be more run like a sunset cruise, where it will be go online and make reservations type cruise for the live entertainment. And we believe this will provide significant improvement in popularity of these cruises. New themes for 2010 include the Cattleman's Lunch Cruise. Passengers will be able to purchase a gift certificate to Cattleman's Restaurant along with their cruise ticket. The Kayak and Cruise Adventure will test launch on March 30th, as will a test run of the Cruise and Glide, which features Segway tours of the Oklahoma River. So your one-way trip will actually be on a Segway, and the rest of the trip will be on a cruiser. The Kayak and Cruise takes boaters from Regatta Park up to Exchange, where you board a kayak and actually travel through a lock back to Regatta Park. Staff is looking into family packages as well, school programs, and as we did last year, we offer box lunches, which we sold a few last year, but we'll promote a little more this year. We can enhance that program. These are some of the partners that we've secured for the season. The Little Caesars Ozarka OKC Nationals drag boat race participation includes what they call an in-ramp view. In-ramp is the very start of the race, so the cruiser will be staged right at the starting line, so you literally will hear the guns go off as the boats take off on their races. The Oklahoma City Indian Clinic Walk for Wellness, we did this last year, and with a contribution from the Oklahoma City Indian Clinic, we were able to provide mini cruises for all their participants who finished the walk. This is our marketing plan. I've updated a little bit from your handout. This was used developing data collected from the prior year marketing efforts and research into currently available resources. For example, coupon usage, where we placed coupons, each coupon was given a unique code so that we knew where they got the coupon that they used, and so we targeted those particular publications and radio advertisements and so forth. The ones that produce the most ticket users are the ones that we'll be using again this year. Results from the customer survey were also used to identify the favored means of getting information about Oklahoma River cruises. Notice that the plan divides spending between funds reserved from the 2010 budget to start up this year, and the 2011 fiscal year budget also includes a reserve for the startup of the 2011 scheduled service season. This is what we have planned for radio. We'll have ticket giveaways, radio remotes, a 30-second spot advertising to run. Those 6 radio stations were those that were identified by riders as the stations that they listened to. Our marketing department also did some research with the companies that own these stations to make sure we were pulling from the best resources to meet the most people in our market. This is all the print that we're using. Once again, this is places where people said they heard about us, places that had coupons where people actually used the coupon. There are many new things happening with Oklahoma River Cruises this season, and other enhancements are still in development. For example, pending funding approval by this board, Hornblower will be adding a sales position for charter sales, trade show support, implementation of a hotel concierge program, and to improve general awareness of the service. And I had one of our board members ask me, how difficult is it to get a cruiser out of this landing? So I put together just a little show of the boat backing up and making its way through the channel. And that's all I have for you. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Thank you. Very nice update. Any questions or comments?
It's nice to see how far we've come since we first put
It is indeed.
first boat in the water.
Is Stockyards working with you to promote the new landing? And
Yes, they are. We're working with Stockyards City Main Street,
great.
and they're working with other vendors besides Cattleman's. And, of course, we met with Dick Stubbs, the owner of Cattleman's, and, yes, they're helping us to coordinate that effort.
Great. Okay.
Any other questions or comments on the consent docket?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Record your vote, please. Item passes. Moving to Section 5, Item A is to receive the quarterly Oklahoma River Cruises update. So I thought we had some
Mr.
cruises
Chairman,
that we're gonna-
in terms of the agenda item 5A, you've received Jeannie's report. It was probably a little out of sequence.
included
We
in-
probably need to have a motion and a second to receive it.
Second.
Record your vote. Item approved. Item B is to receive the report on the quarterly meetings of the Oklahoma River Stakeholders Group.
Mr. Chairman and trustees, we did hold a meeting of the stakeholders group. It was held this month at the site of the American Indian Cultural Center and Museum. It's under construction. We had 4 of the trustees present at this meeting, and I think it was a wonderful opportunity to see some of the improvement on the site, the construction coming up out of the ground, and to get a feel for the scale and the magnitude of the facility being developed there at I-35 and I-40. In addition, we covered the usual waterfront, if you will, of events, activities, received an update on the drag boat race and some other events from Mr. McAuliffe. We covered some issues regarding hotel development ongoing on the west end, talked about the cruiser operation getting started up, and Jeannie was there to provide, as well as Captain Stanionis, to provide an update on what was about to take place with the summer cruising season for the river cruisers. If there are any questions, we'd be happy to address them, but I think it was the consensus of the group present that these stakeholder sessions are very valuable in terms of exchange of information, not just getting a download from city staff or from me, but also to provide an opportunity for fellow stakeholders to share information among themselves that might not otherwise be available. So a very valuable format and forum, and if there's any questions, be happy to address them. Otherwise, would request that the report be received as submitted.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Would you record your votes, please? Item is approved.
Thank you.
Move to item C, which is adopt a resolution approving financial participation in the amount of $50,000 by the Riverfront Redevelopment Authority for a direct marketing campaign for 2010 Oklahoma River Cruises service year, and authorizing the transfer of the $50,000 to COPPA. Pat?
This is an item that we have done the last 2 years. The first inaugural year of the river cruises, there was a $100,000 contribution toward a $300,000 inaugural year push on the marketing program for river cruises. This year, as was the case was last year, we're recommending a $50,000 contribution. We're also recommending that it be tied to a direct sales program for the first time. We've worked this out in conjunction with the COTPA staff, Jeannie, Captain Stanionis, and certainly Rick Kane and his staff have worked with us. We believe that the best way to outreach and to increase direct sales is to go door to door, basically, to call on those businesses and organizations within the community that we know have an interest in this kind of a service, explain the service better, and to ask for their business. And so that is the program that is before you. It is recommended by staff. If there are any questions, be happy to address them. Otherwise, would request that the resolution be adopted as drafted.
Approval of the resolution, adoption of the resolution.
Is there a second? No questions? If not, please record your vote.
Thank you.
The item is approved. Thank you, Pat. Moving to item D, which is approve a renewal of contract between Riverfront Redevelopment Authority and Triad for project MC0250, professional on-call engineering services.
When this contract was procured, it was for a one-year period with 2 one-year options, and this will be the third year or the last of those one-year options.
Been moved and seconded. Would you record your vote? Item is approved. Item E is approve a joint agreement among Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority, the city, and Sherwood Construction Company and subsidiaries for removal of silt sediment material from city property on the south side of Oklahoma River between Pennsylvania and Exchange.
When we did the river projects, both for the river dredging for the boat maintenance area, there was material that was brought out of the river and stockpiled, and this is an agreement to remove that stockpile.
Any other questions?
Move approval.
Been moved and seconded. Record your vote, please. Item is approved. Item F is accept project MC0411, joint emergency contract for mitigation of environmental issues related to abandoned community number 11 oil well, and place maintenance bond into effect.
Mr. Chairman and trustees, this is an item as a final action on a project that was initiated last year. We ran into, in the middle of our construction of the shoreline improvements by Brewer Construction, an unanticipated and uncharted abandoned oil well. It was determined by this body and by mayor and council that it needed to be addressed immediately. It was far more expeditious to direct Brewer, who is already on the scene and mobilized as a contractor, to deal with that. The city engineer staff, as well as Triad, as our independent engineer, has been on site, has recently conducted and completed a final inspection. It's been determined that the work was satisfactorily expedited and committed, and therefore we are recommending that the project be approved, accepted, and that the maintenance bonds be put in place.
Been moved and seconded. Would you record your vote? Item is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. Item G is recommend Oklahoma City Parks and Recreation Department issue a special events permit for Mid-Continent Conference Regional Qualifier for the 2010 Concrete Canoe Championships, April the 24th. Wendell?
We do forward to you today a rather unusual request for a permit for the University of Oklahoma on April 24th to hold the Mid-Continent Conference Regional Qualifier for the 2010 Canoe, that is Concrete Canoe Championships. It's an event that's sponsored by the American Society of Civil Engineers. It'll be the first time this event has been held on our river. This group has satisfied all of the requirements to be issued this permit, and we're recommending it, and we hope it's a successful event and that it returns year after year. It'll be very unique. So we recommend this permit be issued.
Questions? Comments?
Second.
Item has been moved and seconded. Would you record your vote, please? Item is approved. Moving to item 6, which is our claims docket. Any questions or comments there?
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Would you record your vote? Item is approved. Moving to Section 7, comments by the staff. First item is Director's report, Development Director's report.
Mr. Chairman and trustees, the Director of Development report is in your packet. In addition to the information that's contained in that document, a couple of highlights. One is that the framing work for the steel construction element of the Devon OCU boathouse has essentially been framed in, and it is a magnificent structure. I think those of you who have not been by to take a look at it, it's beginning to look like a real project, and I think it indicates the scale of that building very well as to what it's going to become. So if you have not been down toward that area, I would recommend that you do that. In a separate but related matter, the construction of the finish line tower is about to get underway. We've been working with the general contractor to locate their construction shack for that project. That should be coming up out of the ground here fairly shortly. And so, again, a lot of progress in that area. In addition, we've worked with the Wildlife Department and the city staff and the Boathouse Foundation to resolve some outstanding questions that were posed, and I think we have a very good, positive solution for all concerned with that respect. If there are any questions or comments, I'd be happy to address them. Otherwise, would request that the report be received as submitted.
Questions or comments?
Move approval.
Are the shoreline improvements finished?
They are very close.
Yeah.
Brewer is about to wrap up.
Actually, in the water, improvements are done. The eastern basin has been impounded, but there's still some sidewalk improvements that need to be done up on top.
Trail work and sidewalk.
Is the new boat ramp going to be done far enough up that we can start impounding water?
Oh, we have. It is impounded. It's full.
Yeah.
That's been done. The boat ramp portion of it below grade has been completed, and it has been impounded. We're waiting to move a gas line on the upper part of the boat ramp. But the below grade stuff, it has been completed, and the water was impounded on the 16th, I believe.
15th or 16th is when we started re-impounding water, and everything that would be submerged below the normal pool elevation of the basin was constructed, and as Mr. Couch said, we're waiting to work out a gas line.
Is that correct, Mr. Knopp? All right.
Other comments? Meg?
I did just have a quick question, and Pat, this actually goes back to the River Cruises update, but there's mention of stimulus dollars available for ferry infrastructure and all that we have received.
That I would have to defer to Jeannie or Mr. Kane.
Rick's here. Jeannie?
Rick, did we? Oh, okay, sorry. Yes, Jeannie.
There was some stimulus money that came through transit that we were apportioned $900,000 for capital cost of contracting to recover some of the maintenance fees for the boats, and then another $900,000, which a little better than half was used to finish our maintenance facility.
Great.
And then we'll have other improvements in and around the maintenance facility that we need to complete.
Great. And it alludes to the fact there may be additional dollars available that we can request. Are we going to
constantly
Great.
making requests for more funds, and we I think just last week or week before submitted another request for funds.
Great. Thank you.
Other comments on the director's report?
Move approval of the report.
Have a motion and a second. Record your vote, please. Item is approved. Any comments by any of our trustees that we haven't addressed? Is there anyone in our audience that would like anything to bring anything before our trust? If not, then I'll accept a motion for adjournment.
So moved. Nobody wants to leave.